Namaste, beautiful souls. Happy Friday. Oh my gosh, it's Venus's day. We are live. We are simulcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. I do that all the time, but I actually never say that, and I don't know why. But anyway, I'm so happy to be here. So grateful that all of you have joined me. Today is just a great day to do a presentation. Let me turn this down. It's Venus's day. We are live. There we go. It's distracting to hear yourself delayed. So yeah, it's a beautiful day to do this presentation. We're going to talk about Venus in Pisces. She's going to be there till probably June. So, but the shift in energy occurs towards the end of this month. And what I normally do during the regular part of Venus's cycle when she's moving through the constellations pretty quickly is I'll set up a calendar for you guys. And I used to do it by hand, and then I take a picture of it, and then I'd upload it. Now I do it in my graphics software, so it's a little bit more professional. But I'm going to show you this month and why it looks so different, why it looks so unique when we compare it to previous months that I've done with Venus energy. I think you guys will be amazed. So we're going to be in it basically the way you're feeling now about your creative energy, about your excitement, about your inspiration. All of that energy is going to be pretty much status quo until the end of next week. So we're going to talk about all of that. I also have an amazing announcement for you at the very end of this presentation. So I hope that you all will stick around with me to hear this announcement. It is a special secret announcement only for those who are listening. So I hope you stick around till the end to do that. Also, guys, Stellar Foundations is opening up for a second round of students. We're going to start on May 12th. It's a Monday night. It is a full moon. And what I'm going to do is, for those of you that join us, I'm going to take you through a 13-week journey. And we're going to start at Scorpio and end in Ophiuchus. And it is the cosmic healer's journey, for the soul that has woken up during this lifetime and that realizes they're probably on their last incarnation. So it's beautiful energy. There's 2 meditations for each week, one for the planet, one for the constellation. You also get technical modules. So I teach you about the signs, about the houses, about the aspects, about feminine, masculine energy, about how to do predictions, about how to read the chart. So all of that's in there as well. There's over, gosh, I want to say 130 hours of video. Not like over 30, like 30 to 35 hours of video, 150 pages of resource documents. So for each week you get readings. I am also providing you with a sun, moon, rising rulership PDF. It's about 27, 28 pages that you can easily reference. So if you want to start reading charts right away. So if you enroll now, before we get started, you guys can dive into all of that material. There's even a prerequisites section where you need to get sort of up to speed on the glyphs and the houses and the signs and what they all mean. So all of that's there provided for you. There are, you can split up your payments if you want to do it. But this time I've also added a special offering with Stellar Foundations. For those of you that maybe are studying on your own, maybe you already know a bunch of stuff and you don't really need to learn that from me, but you want to be a part of our group. I am offering a monthly subscription to Stellar Foundations Lite. So you'll get all of the technical modules. So you're on the same page as us. You will get access to join our live groups. So we'll do 6 live groups throughout the 13 weeks. They're 2 hours each, and we go over my favorite topics and answer all of your questions. And it really is just a profound experience. I have watched the current students, the inaugural group, really transform over the last several months through this program. And so I invite you to join me on that. Lori, if you could post a link to that, Stellar Foundations. I'll show you the website too, so you know what you're looking at when you get there. It's pretty awesome. So, and yes, there are some other special things that go in with that offering, but I am not going to tell you about that till the end of this presentation. With the super secret special announcement. So how's everybody doing? We have 18 in the chat so far. I've been so looking forward to today and connecting with all of you. I see we have fellow traveler here. Hello, my friend. And Lori from Washington. Thank you so much for all you do with this channel and with my work. I appreciate you. Sage Page is here saying Happy Venus Day. Nathaniel Will is here. Made it to a live. Awesome. Yeah, we're just getting started. Step into Flow is here. Hello, all the good souls. Let's see. Christine Cardoza is here. Hello, my love. Christine Yan. Dr. Juan Fortier. Good to see you. Let's see. The African Wolf is here. Peace to the chat. Hello, my friend. All right, cool. What a great group of people. What a great group of beautiful souls. I love y'all so much. Let me think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, if you want to just kind of keep in touch and connected with our group, but you don't really want to join any like special small groups or anything like that, you can join the Fellowship of 13 Signs and be part of our community. Everyone there typically practices constellational astrology. So if you're brand new and you know astrology and you want to jump in and learn with us, the Fellowship of 13 Signs is a great place if you're on Facebook. And then, of course, I do post all my updates here on YouTube in the YouTube community. Oh, and if you guys want to, if you want to just support this work a little bit, there's the membership to this channel. It's a really, really good price. I do from time to time post information up there just for you guys that will come out before the general public. And of course, if you are chatting with me, I'm going to see your little badge first. So, all right, cool. And then next week. I was thinking either Tuesday or Wednesday night of getting on here live and maybe teaching some basics. And if any of you had any questions about your own chart and you were live with me, you could ask, or if you want to ask me about certain techniques, if you want to ask me basically anything, astrology, numerology, and the metaphysical, I thought I would just kind of hold an open session for members, channel subscribers, people just kind of stopping by and that kind of thing. So let me know in the chat if that sounds like a great idea, if you guys want to do that. I'm also coming up with some new material for the YouTube channel where we are going to dive deeper into some of the technical aspects of astrology. I think that'll be very, very interesting. Cool. I think that's all I have for y'all. Good, good. So we have a full moon coming up tomorrow. Venus is stationing direct this weekend, so she's going to take a couple days to do that. Whenever Venus is in a pause phase, like where she is right now, the aspects last a whole lot longer. Like it's literally amazing. You'll get months of aspects when she's doing her retrograde energy. I'm just going to my channel to pull up a video for you guys that I wanted to show you real quick. Hang on, here we go. There's that. Let me take the sound down. Let's go to 3 minutes, 15 seconds. So yeah, so these aspects that we're looking at are lasting much, much longer. And we're going to dive into each and every one of them during this conversation that we're having today so that you can really, really dive into how Venus interacts with these planets. Not only that, but from the position of Pisces and what those other planets are going to do. So if you know your own chart, you know where those sort of 5 degrees, 10 degrees of Pisces is right now, this is going to be very, very, very helpful for you. So I think the first thing I want to touch on is why Venus, why study her so in depth? Why go into all of this? Why do all this trouble just to talk about her? Well, I've been following Venus probably unconsciously my entire life. She is my chart ruler. So if you have Taurus rising, Libra rising, even Virgo rising, I think Venus is very, very important for Virgo energy. If you have Venus in your first house, your 10th house, your second house, your relationship house, she's basically this just ubiquitous energy throughout your chart that we don't really pay a lot of attention to. And we often kind of brush her off as, just love and beauty and relationships. What I have found since following her cycles consciously for the past 3 cycles, i.e. the past 5 years, is that really resonating with her energy, the ebbs and flows, the different frequencies that you get through the true sky constellations, the energies of her in orb with another planet, and then translating that back to how it aspects your own chart, or at least my own chart in my experience, has been nothing short of amazing and miraculous. I am a better doctor. I am a better creator. I live more in flow. I smile every day because of how magical the world is. And I attribute that to following Venus energy. Now, if you want more of this, more of the Venus energy, like what is this? What are you talking about, Dr. Danny? My courses, my practicums on Venus are fantastic. There are 2 of them. There's the basic practicum and the advanced practicum. I guarantee you, if you study both of those courses on learn.drdanny.com, you will understand exactly where I am coming from. So we watch her cycles. She goes through this 20-month cycle. The last one started in June of last year, June 4th of 2024. And she peaked on March 22nd of this year in the retrograde phase. And so she's just now completing her retrograde phase, which is precisely 42 days. And that force of energy as she's retrograde, it's intense, it's big, it's internal. What it does is it inspires you. It makes you more creative. And in Pisces, really the sky's the limit. So it's been about a time of Muse, being led by your creative muse through all the other waves of energy. When you hone in and focus in just on Venus energy, all the other things, the Mars opposed Jupiter, the this square that, or this square that, it goes by you. And you remain pretty unfazed. It's really, really amazing. And it doesn't stop. Like she's always constantly moving through a new phase, a new part of her cycle. And now after this retrograde, we're at a dissemination phase. This is when you take that dandelion, that puffy dandelion, and you blow on it and all the seeds spread throughout the land. And that's what we're about to do with this part of the Venus cycle. So if you all will indulge me, I am going to share my screen. I'm going to show you a video. This one really, really resonated with me in a big way when I first started studying Venus, when I understood her celestial mechanics. This is where it always gets me. So we're going to watch this video. I know y'all have seen this before. For those of you that have been here before, those of you that haven't, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. This will be a first for you, so I'm going to be excited with you. What you're seeing here is planet Earth in the middle. So this is going to be a geocentric exercise. The sun will be orbiting around Earth in its yearly fashion, and then Venus will be orbiting around the sun in her yearly episode. So let's watch this. Okay, so you can see Venus moving around here. That's a retrograde loop right there. And then she comes around for a superior conjunction, and then her inferior conjunction, another retrograde loop, another superior conjunction. And this pattern begins to emerge after you see 5 cycles. So what she's going to do now is loop around for this 4th retrograde loop. And then the 5th retrograde loop creates this incredible star pattern. Okay, so this is what we are dealing with here when we are thinking about the celestial mechanics of Venus. Do you guys see this 5-pointed star? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is the star that we trace as kids, the little pentagram that we can draw. Each retrograde loop. So this is where she just was, right here, mid-March. And she's now looping back around, and will, for 10 more months, will continue her cycle. And she'll be back over here around January. So this part of the cycle is the dissemination phase. The beginning of the cycle is the conception phase, the pregnancy, the swelling, the internal growth. And this red loop for me is like a birth. It's like birthing your thing into existence. This is the creative matrix, okay? So you have a 5-pointed star. Earth went around 8 times, if you didn't notice that. Okay, so we have 5, and then Venus went around the sun 13 times. So when I saw that pattern, 5, 8, and 13, that was just really like spooky, eerily reminiscent of a sequence that we have in mathematics. For those of you that don't know me, I am one of those people that knows like a little bit to a moderate amount about a lot of different things. So I like math. I like physics. I like celestial mechanics. I like cosmology. And because I deeply study those things, I find patterns. I find coincidences and connections in different silos of study. And so here we have this mathematical series being born out, 8 and 13, that is eerily reminiscent of the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, the Fibonacci sequence I'll show you here in a little bit when we get into the question, but that is the basis for Venus's movements. And so when we see a sequence like that, and we go down that Fibonacci rabbit hole, we find, after numeral 13 in the Fibonacci sequence, 13 being the 13th sign, Ophiuchus, we get this ratio that comes out by dividing the one number by the next number. You get the golden ratio, the golden mean, the golden triangle, the golden spiral, the golden rectangle. So all of that comes out of just this movement between Venus, Earth, and Sun. So that's just amazing to me. And, you know, when you get into numerology, then everything starts opening up for you when you find all these amazing connections and coincidences. So we have this happening like in real time in our sky. And then we get into the spiritual and the esoteric energy of Venus. And we realize that, you know, she's not really associated with any chakra, so to speak, at least in my experience. She is more of the Kundalini itself, an energy that you allow, that can't be forced, that can't really be blocked, but moves and flows upward through the nadis, or the energetic channels through your spine, through your central nervous system. And so that's what Venus is about. She's about your creative legacy, your immortality, your procreation. So your children are part of your Venus arc in your life. If you have children, those are your creation. I mean, you literally sacrificed your body in order to bring that soul here onto Earth. And so that's why I like Venus in Virgo as the ruler of Virgo, because Virgo is the birthing mother sky goddess. So This is the actual sky right now. This is what we're looking at. And I did a full moon video the other day. Hopefully you guys were able to see that, because there were some interesting connections with that too. But this full moon, just so you guys know, so I can show you for sure, and you can see it. Let me find it. There it is. Wait, hold on. Let me take out the deal here. Looking for Virgo, looking for Virgo. She's going to be over here. There she is. Okay, so this is today, but if we go to tomorrow, which is the full moon, we still see her in Virgo. And I appreciate those of you that practice tropical astrology and correct me on my moon placement, because it helps me highlight the fact that our tropical Western astrology uses signs that have absolutely nothing to do with the stars' positions or where the planets and constellations are. It's just an arbitrary or constructed map of the sky that has nothing to do with where the constellations are. They used to 2,000 years ago, but there's a phenomenon called precession of the equinox, and the sun rising on the spring equinox in Aries hasn't happened for 2,000 years. It always happens in Pisces. So this full moon's right here in our beautiful constellation of Virgo, the birthing mother sky goddess. And our sun, of course, is still in Pisces, and we won't have the Aries energy until the 19th of April. Here's the sun. Chiron's also here. This is cool. If you look at the chart on the full moon, both of these, sun and Chiron, are at 33 degrees of Pisces. And what's so neat about constellational astrology is that you can have a degree that's greater than 30. So like when you take traditional Pisces in a regular tropical chart, which happens, I think, in Aquarius or something like that, or the early degrees of actual Pisces, you can't go over 30 degrees. They're all 30 degrees. They're all the same exact size. But the constellations, you can see Pisces is huge and Aries is tiny. So we only have 21 degrees of Aries and we have like 38 or 41 degrees of Pisces. So 33 degrees, sun and Chiron, that's very beautiful. That's a magical number. That's a master teacher number if that's your life path. And then, of course, we have this Pisces over here. So not only do we tune Mercury, Saturn, Venus stationing direct, we also have the North Node over here. So our collective Rahu is sitting right here at the early degrees of Pisces. Tropical is going to tell you all this is in Aries. And I mean, that's fine. If you want to do solarology and seasonology and be really into like what's happening on Earth and your earthly affairs, that's cool. You can follow the quote unquote signs, but don't tell me they're constellations because they're not. Don't tell me those are stars. That's just your version of that particular month of the calendar. So I appreciate you guys telling me where you have the moon in the tropical system, but I know where it is. Like I can look at the sky and I can see exactly where the moon is. And I say that with jest, not with rudeness. We're all on a different, part of our journey. For me, the tropical journey ended the moment I realized that my sun was not actually in Leo. I looked up at the sky and it was in Cancer, and it changed everything because, I don't think I was ever a Leo sun. I'm a Cancer sun. I'm intuitive. I'm compassionate. It's in my third house, which means I communicate that way, but I'm definitely not a Leo sun. My Leo energy is Mars. Okay. That's where my Leo goes. I like to play. I like to have a good time. When I work, I like to have fun. So, for me, those energies resonate much more with who I am and where I am in my journey. And I think for a lot of people, they'll get here eventually. I think the further we move into the future, the precession gets our constellations out of whack with the signs, the more evident it's going. So all of you watching me and all of you getting into constellational astrology, you're on the cutting edge of something very new and incredibly resonant with those souls that are awakened, those of you cosmic healers. Let me show you real quick before we dive into the presentation where you can go, what the Stellar Foundation's offer page looks like. So of course, I go into all the good stuff about what it's about and what you can go over here and peek at the curriculum. And all of this is free preview. So are the prerequisites. So if you want to just get in there and start seeing what we do and how we do it, you can do that. You don't even have to pay a dime. But you can look and see what we go through each and every week. So this is just week 1. So you're going to get information on aspects, how to do it. You're going to get information on Pluto, a deep dive that we recorded live, a Pluto meditation, a Scorpio meditation, and then a resource document that you can use for deciphering Pluto in your chart. And then our live office hours, it will be on the second one will be on June 9th. We open it with an office hours. So we're going to introduce everybody, get Prometheus software set up because that's included in it. Yeah, so this is really just an awesome program. So these are the different payment options you have. You can click on any one of these. And of course, this is Stellar Foundations Lite. So if you wanted to do the monthly version with us, you can join our community. You can apply the fees towards a full tuition later if you decide that you want to join us. And you can come to all of the office hours sessions. Okay. And as long as you're doing the monthly deal, like you can come as often as you want, as long as it serves you. And then, of course, you can do this entire comprehensive astrology course with this as well. So I take you through all of it. This course is also separate on the course website, but if you wanted to do it with the interactive, this is right here. So I encourage you all to check that out. I'll leave that for now, and we'll dive into the presentation. All right, Venus forecast, divine timing. Whenever I do astrology and then I want to study the numerology that goes with it, pi comes up a lot, phi comes up a lot. So pi being 3.14 or 144, and phi 1.618, or the golden ratio. I also see the fine structure constant 137, 138 in a lot of the decodes, as well as 13 and 33. So I'll be showing you some of that as we go through some of the aspects, as well as a deep dive into the astrological energy. All right, so this is the calendar I was talking about. And don't worry, I know it looks like a lot. It is. There's a lot of energy going on right now. There's really no other way to explain this to you other than to show you. Because if I show you a chart, you might look at certain things. If I show you the sky, you're going to look at certain things. If I show you the real-time energies and what's at stake here, like over the next couple of weeks, you can really see it. So first of all, we have Venus trining Mars the entire month. Now, I use very large orbs with Venus because it is such a subtle energy. And when you look at a chart, you can see the energy approaching and you can see it fading away. If you do this in Prometheus, you're only going to get a 1 degree orb. So that's why they last much, much longer on my time maps that I do for Venus. I'm trying to figure out how to do that setting in Prometheus where I can extend the orb, but I haven't been able to do that yet. So whole month of April and May, you have Venus trining Mars. We're going to dive into what that means. All the way until the 8th of May, you've got Venus conjunct Saturn. The entire month, you have Venus conjunct Neptune. So Venus conjunct Saturn and Neptune this entire month. We have Venus conjunct our North Node all the way until the 3rd of May. We have Venus conjunct Mercury all the way until the 19th of April. And then we have Venus sextiling Uranus until the 27th of April. We have our Virgo full moon tomorrow. And then we've got our Aries new moon on the 27th. And by the way, guys, the sun enters Aries on the 21st. So, yeah, might be actually be the 19th. I might have that wrong. Somebody check that for me. I don't when you're putting all these lines together, it makes you blind and you might actually put it in the wrong spot. But at any rate, we're going to be using this same template. So let me just go back and show you what previous energies look like when I work with these calendars, when I set them up for you, what they look like. So you can see the difference here. This was the end of December. This was January. And wow, I mean, I see a difference right away because it's not so packed with energy. I mean, at the most, maybe we'll get 4 aspects with Venus. Sometimes she'll be unaspected for a few days, like here. So you can see the difference. This was the month before, just to give you some continuity. And it's just stunning if you look back, like what we are dealing with right now as Venus does this retrograde and we have that Pisces soup all connected together. I just wanted to go throwback and show you what my handwritten calendars look like, so you can get an idea of what we were working with in the past. I can't believe you guys let me post these. This is so much more professional when I do it like that, I think. So, nevertheless, we are here and we are in it. So I'm excited to dive into this with you guys. We're gonna go through a few special topics. Let's see where you guys are. Christina Cardozo recommends Stellar Foundations. Yeah, she's one of my star pupils in the course, and I've actually watched her go through quite a transformation as well. So yeah, these are real time testimonials, you guys. Let's see. Nathan Wills says the Venus looks almost like a mandala. Yeah, you could say that. Lori also recommends Stellar Foundations 100%. Step into Flow says, only just now taking on astrology. How awesome to land here before getting started on an outdated system. Yeah, how cool is that? It is cool. I'm excited for you too. Jacob Blanchett, thank you for the super chat. Also, you said 4 + 1 + 2 + 2 + 0 + 2 + 5 is 16. The magic of 7. Yes, we're going to get into that too. Oh my gosh, you're going to love this then. Cool. All right. Let's get into this. So I thought a little code primer would be good because when I get excited, when I like take a theme, okay, so let's say I'm going to do Venus conjunct Saturn, and I start diving into it and I find these little synchronicities, I get excited because I know what I've already done before, but maybe you don't. And so what I thought I would do is just sort of review with you these special numbers, 137, pi, phi, why and how it's all connected. So that when we do get to the later part of the presentation, it blows your mind too. Okay. Shane QCK says, discovering True Sky Sidereal has absolutely confirmed so many things for me. Thank you for shining light on the system. 100%. I can't help it. Like when I realized where my sun was, it became a passion, a mission. It's almost like click. I know what I'm supposed to do. I felt the same way when I decided to study medicine, by the way. And, 25, 30 years later, I'm a physician. So I'm always ahead of the game. So I think, maybe in 5 to 10 years, we'll have more of a mainstream feeling to our work. So let me we watched that video of Venus and the Earth and the Sun, and I wanted to bring back the Fibonacci sequence and show it to you. So where the numbers come from, why we count like this. It came from a man named Leonardo Fibonacci, and he noticed this pattern in the breeding habits of rabbits. So he was able to see how the rabbit populations, if nothing terrible happened to the rabbits, propagated in this fashion, as well as other things. So he was able to pull out this sequence, and it was confirmed later on. But what we find is that it's also very important in art and aesthetics, which is Venus's realm. It's very important in how things sort of become matter. So if you take energy and you apply this vibration of the Fibonacci spiral and the golden mean energy, matter conforms to it. And we'll see that here in a graphic in a little bit. But here's the 5, 8, and 13 that we saw with Venus's orbit. After 13, you get this ratio, 1.618. And then they also have a cipher. So on decoded.co, there is a phi cipher that takes the irrational string of digits after the 1.618, and applies them to the alphabet. So we have an alphanumeric cipher here that we can use for words. And I find this cipher is the best cipher for astrology energy, 100%. It's so good. So that's where that comes from. That's why I'm connecting the Venus astro and celestial movements, it's it's physical energy to this frequency energy of the numerology. And Venus stations direct. So this is what I'm saying. This is an example of how amazing it is and how it works. I simply go to that phi cipher and I type in the words Venus stations direct, and I get a Fibonacci number. Venus retrograde, if you type that in, is 55. So 89 and 55. Here's some words about the golden ratio. If you want to dive into that, this is if you don't see it as a geometrical energy or you don't see it as a ratio numerologically, you can read about it. So it's basically you take a line and you divide a line that is shorter than it such that the ratio of the distance of those two lines is 1.618. We can do this with a circle too. And the angle that it forms between those two arc distances creates the Phoenix angle. Lady Spellbreaker, I think, showed me that. Here's what I mean by the energy becoming matter through this resonance of the golden mean, through this resonance of the Fibonacci sequence. This is what you get. You get embryos, you get octopus arms, you get shells, you get plants, you get galaxies. So weather patterns, all following this spiral pattern that's created through this energetic frequency of the numerology of Venus. Oh, yeah. And for those of you new, this is going to look very overwhelming. I created this around Christmas time. And in fact, fellow traveler, you were there when I was birthing this idea. I saw all the energy coming. I saw Venus retrograde. I saw Mercury retrograding both at the same time as the solar eclipse that we had in March. And I wanted you all to be prepared. So I put this graphic together. We've been looking at it on almost every single slide. We've made it. We've gone through the eclipse. We've gone through both retrogrades. And tomorrow we will be here. And what you see here, this point is the exact moment that 322 was the precise moment of Venus's inferior conjunction, the height of her retrograde. And I did a countdown using Fibonacci numbers. So 89, 55, 34, 21. And I thought it was interesting that 21 to 21 was it was almost perfect the way Venus went retrograde and then she went direct. And then, of course, in between these two phases while she's retrograde, we get a solar eclipse, we get Mercury retrograde, a Mercury inferior conjunction, and then Mercury direct. So all of this was going on, all in Pisces during this time. We've made it to the crest of that wave, and now we're riding that wave. Now we're in that dispersion process. If you had an interesting eclipse, look out for the 25th because there's going to be reverberations of that energy. Also look out for April 25th, May 23rd, and 6/19. Those will be reverberation energies of this eclipse that occurred on the 29th. And then, of course, the 25th also coincides with one of Venus's Fibonacci waves, I call them. So a dispersion phase, and then some ripples of this March energy remaining with us in the coming months. And I like this format. I think what I'm going to do is create another one, but move it a little bit forward so we can peak just a little bit past June. Once we get past the halfway point, I kind of want to see what's happening here for us in terms of Mercury and Venus's energy. Oh, notice it's slide 13 too. All right. If you add the Fibonacci spiral to this timeline, you can kind of see how it works. It's almost synchronistic, the way the geometry overlays the Venus waves of energy from the star point. And what I did is I just added it in 4 dimensions so we could think about it as not just this linear timeline, but also forward, backward, up and back through the hidden dimensions, the space where we close our eyes. There's this just immense peak of energy, and this is where it is. And it's more intense the closer you are to that date. And so we've made it. We've made it past the first, second, and third waves, and here we are, right here. All right. This symbol actually reminds me of the third eye chakra, which I like to associate the energy of channeling with the third eye. Like you close your eyes, you can see, you can know. This being Pisces energy also. This looks like a Vesica Pisces, third eye, mystical. So a lot of mystical, juicy energy going on the last several weeks. And we have a couple more weeks to go with it too. All right, so that's the whole point of that. I just wanted you to see that timeline again. The next time you see it, I'll probably have all of this maybe in our past. We'll move this back here and see what's coming. This is pi. For those of you that don't know about pi, it is a ratio that is derived from the circumference and the diameter. We're going to see a lot of that in our decodes. It is an irrational number, meaning this decimal goes on forever. There's also a pi cipher, where you can take the digits of pi and associate them with letters. I don't think I use that here with Venus. And then here's the fine structure constant. This gives the quality of magnetism and electrical charge to the subatomic particles. If we didn't have this threshold of the fine structure constant, our universe would fall apart. It would not actually look like what it looks like. And this is a ratio that they come up with a lot when they're doing standard model calculations, when they're getting into the quantum mechanics and quantum physics. This is what they get to. And then, of course, the spooky correlation with those of you that are fans of archaics. I certainly am. Shout out to Las Vegas group today and tomorrow. You have the 138-year orbital period of the Phoenix cycle. So that's also very much associated. In fact, even Jason has said that he says the fine structure constant is the 138-year Phoenix orbit, but on a larger fractal scale. So very interesting. Oh, here's a cute little connection. 317 is the 137th decimal digit of pi. And 138 is the 381st decimal digit of pi. So that's neat because in numerology, you can actually switch numbers around and to use the same digit locator, and you get this connection between 138, 381, 317, and 137. It's more of a like, yeah, these are the energies you need to use. 137 is also the 33rd prime in numerology. So no matter what cipher you use, it will always be the 33rd prime. And I find that super fascinating too. Pi and phi and the phi cipher, if you spell them out together, is 33. And then the fine structure constant is 79, if you spell that out. And 79 is the 13th decimal digit of pi. Tying that all back together to the 13 and the 33. And this is not cherry picking. This is literally discoveries that I've made over the last several months in working with these ciphers. And then, of course, 13 is 33 in the phi cipher. I messed that punchline up in the last video, you guys. So hopefully I did better this time. Here's the Fibonacci sequence. So you can see 13, 33, 34, 21, 89, 55. They're all there. So where are we right now? We've looked at this timeline. Let's look at it from Venus's perspective in terms of the retrograde energy. We are just now coming out of this. Okay. There's a shadow period with Venus, but I think towards the end of the month, as we get into early May, things will start to become more normal. Like every day won't be sort of this mystical trip into dreamland where you're not sure the next thing that's going to happen. So it might get a little bit better from that perspective. But at the same time, when you're in the middle of this chaos energy, a lot of things are up in the air. And what's nice about coming out of retrograde periods is things settle down. It's like, okay, now I can take action. Now I have this in place and this in place and this in place. And so I can move forward and use that energy. But this is how long she's in Pisces, you guys. From June 21st to January 21st to June 8th. That's a long time. And this is when we will leave Pisces and enter Aries. So that will definitely feel different. All right, we're here in the current Venus cycle. So we go from, when we talk about a Venus cycle, it's a 20-month cycle. It's 584 days. We go from superior conjunction to superior conjunction. And all that means, when I say superior conjunction, is that from Earth's perspective, so let's say you were, where's my marker? Where am I? Here we go. Let's say the sun is here and Earth is over here. Venus is all the way over here. We can't see her. She's kind of blocked out by the sun. So that's the beginning of the cycle. And then the retrograde, she's right here, right in our face. This is the closest any planet ever gets to planet Earth. Mars doesn't get this close. The sun doesn't even get this close. Mercury doesn't get this close. It's Venus. So close, in fact, that even though it's minuscule, her gravity affects our tides when she's retrograde. So if she's going to be big enough and close enough to actually move an ocean, even though microscopic, when we talk about the world's oceans, it's still huge. Don't you think she can affect us just a little bit as a human, as a tiny human on the surface of the planet? I think so. So we're here. Her maximum eastern or western elongation, the highest she'll be as a morning star, will be at the end of May. And then we kind of get to coast into January, where we start a new cycle. So you have plenty of time to start thinking about that big thing that you want to create. My big creation was becoming the astrological scholar in constellational astrology. And my announcement will make more sense at the end when I talk to you about this. But launching the Stellar Foundations course, having that become sort of the springboard from which all other scholarly activities move forward. So this is just my personal journey with the Venus. So whatever you guys are doing, you're doing it unconsciously. You started something in June. It peaked here at the end of March, and now is the birthing and dispersion phase of your creative endeavors. It might actually even be a pregnancy, believe it or not. Here's the intensityogram that we always refer to, with Earth being here. So this is the distance to Earth and also the intensity, because the closer they get, the more intense the energy is. And we are right here. We've just made it through the big wave. And we'll get the next one October of 2026. So this is a while. We have a little while to go before the next wave. All right, we're back to the calendar. So what I thought I'd do is maybe make it a little bit easier. Did I not put the slides in there that I wanted to? Doesn't look like I did. I had a slide where I took out each of these lines for you. Maybe that's later. We are here. This is tomorrow. This is when Venus stations direct at 5 degrees of Pisces. Her glyph is moved over here because it's so packed in Pisces right now. So all these characters are right here on these little dashes. So Venus is right here at the very beginning of Pisces. You saw the sky. We have the sun still in Pisces. This happens either the 19th or the 21st. I don't know. I think it's 4/19. Pluto's in Capricorn. Mars is in Cancer now. And Jupiter is in Taurus. Moon is in Virgo. Everybody else is over here in Pisces. And here's the sun in Chiron at 33 degrees. So that is your orientation to time and space. And you are right here, looking up at the sky, gazing up. This is the horizon. And everything under it will rotate in this direction. So as the time of day moves, everything moves this way. So as we get later and later in the day, all of this energy moves this way and sets. So the sun, planets, everything moves in a clock fashion around this dial. And this is a two-dimensional slice of your sphere above your sky tomorrow. Okay, time and space. There is the Pisces soup. There is Venus. I zoomed in a little bit so you could really see her hashtag, even though she looks like she's in Aquarius. And let's see what we get. So mirror numerology, and you alluded to that earlier, the adding all the numbers together for the date. Let's see what the date does for us. There's a couple different ways you can do the date. And I went through this in the full moon video, but I have taken a couple of extra steps here with Venus to see what else we can get out of the actual date. You can do it as 2025, 4/12/2025, or you can do it as 4/1/2025. So when you do it this way, you get the 9 of diamonds as the card of the day, which is super interesting because if you look on my birthday, which is August 4th, it is also the 9 of diamonds. So anybody with a 9 of diamonds, this is a special report just for you, Venus going direct. It happens to occur on April 12th. Now, the 9 of diamonds is the 35th card in the Cards of Illumination deck. Shout out to Logan Jason of Decode Your Reality. He's got a whole pack of resources on his website where you can go and you can get this list of cards and the number associated with it. The 35 is bromine in the periodic table of elements. You can go to the Royal Chemistry Society, look at their periodic table. You find the 35th element. And one thing I noticed right away is that the boiling point in Fahrenheit for bromine is 137.8. You get a choice. You can do 137 or 137.8. So you see how that fine structure constant has weaved itself into just the date numerology analysis. 61 is at the 219th decimal digit of pi. 61 is at the 291st decimal digit of phi. So isn't that interesting? If you go to subidium.com, you can find out where in these strings any number is that you want. So that's a part of my analysis. I say, okay, I got a 61. I'm going to go to the Subidium and I'm going to put 61 in both the pi and the phi string and see where the numbers show up. And look, we get almost the same number, just like we did with 137 and 317 and 138 and 381. Shout out to whoever said that and did the super chat. 4122025 is 16. That is a mirror of 61. If you take the 16th, the number 16, it appears at 219 in phi. Look at that. So both ways of analyzing the numerology of the day give you the same number, but in different strings. Isn't that amazing? Now, to me, as someone who decodes the universe, anytime any kind of information comes at me, I'm cross-referencing and checking it with, numbers and previous experiences and patterns. For me, that was cool. I just was like, wow, look at that. Look at that. If you take 16, you get 16 as the 16th prime is 53, which is the mirror of 35. So there you go. 16, 61, 53, 35, the fine structure constant. And then I'll show you where this ties in later too. It's all connected, all of it. All right. Let's get into the Venus aspects. This is the bulk of our discussion today because we're talking about Venus, and Venus is aspecting a lot of energy over the next couple of weeks. So let's just take the first one. Venus conjunct Neptune. Oh, here's where I did it. So I took out everything else. I took out all the other noise. So you could see the Venus conjunct Neptune line. This is the purple line. So the entire month of the rest of April and the first 2 weeks of May, Venus conjunct Neptune, we're going to feel into that energy. Check this out. So this is 79. And if you take billionaire planet, which is one of Venus's sort of keywords, one of her monikers that she carries around, it's also 79. And shout out to Christine Yan pointing this out, that 79 is gold. Gold is 79 in the periodic table of elements. Venus is gold. Venus is the billionaire planet. Now she's conjunct Neptune. So this is so incredibly beautiful. And then one thing I noticed about gold, look at this. Now this might be reaching, but we've got 33 a couple times. We've got 13, and we've also got 137. All of that is in the melting point of gold. All of it. The fine structure constant, 13 and 33. Amazing. So Venus conjunct, there's some gold here that we can use. Venus stationing direct is a Fibonacci number. Meditation is 55. Oh, I'm going to take you through the spiral here because remember I pointed out how important the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence is to the Venus energy. So first we have Venus stations direct. Then we've got the word meditation, which is sort of this combination of Venus and Neptune meditating on your creation. We've got a mystic, another Fibonacci number. And then we've got Nagas, which is the divine half human, half serpent deities of Hindu religion. And I've been drawing a correlation between Venus as that serpent energy, a white serpent energy, a sacred spiritual energy. You may have seen that. So here we go. We have 89, 55, 35, 21, counting down the Fibonacci numbers, and we have 13 equaling 33. Nadis, which is the energy channels through your spine, what Venus actually flows through, the nadi channels in the chakra system, is 33 in the Phi cipher. So wow. I mean, this is amazing. So we have this billionaire planet, this creation energy, this fourth dimensional liquid light. It's your gold. It is your gold. And you are here to create. Creation is 33. Bromine is 79. So we have this mystical, creative energy. And when we think mystical, we think of the chakra system, don't we? That's a practical, mystical energy that you can close your eyes and visualize on. There are billions of meditations out there on YouTube. I have probably 20 on my own channel where you can tap in and activate your chakra system. And so Venus conjunct Neptune is a fantastic time to do that, especially Neptune in Pisces, because you're tapping into spiritual energy, right? And so if you want to create, you close your eyes, you visualize your chakras, you watch that light rise, you surrender to the rising of the light, and then you can create what you want. Amazing, amazing. And then, of course, the 9 of Diamonds, which is the card of the date of her retrograde, is 35. And 33 is the 33rd prime is 137. So now Venus trines Mars the entire month of April and May. So I've added Mars energy to the Neptune energy that's already there. We already know about Venus being that liquid light, that force of creation that you have to surrender to so that you don't have to lift a finger and you get effortless manifestation. Trining onto Mars, whose path to enlightenment is by enacting the divine will of the creator. Okay, Mars wants to. You give Mars a Venusian idea, there is no stopping Mars. Mars will do it. Mars will do whatever she wants. And you won't even feel like you're doing anything. Now, if you don't have an inspiration, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have an idea, then you've got a lot of excess Mars energy right now. Mars wants to do something for you. So if you're feeling that frustrated, that anxiety, that fight or fornicate energy that Mars brings to the table, you need to do something physical to blow off that steam. Okay? But I would sit with Neptune and that chakra kundalini energy so that you can decide what it is that you want to bring into creation. Mars will happily accommodate you through the next several weeks. Now, Mars trining on to Venus trine Mars is 72 in this phi cipher. Do you guys remember that star that we drew? Y'all remember that, right? At the very beginning? This is the star. This star creates 72-degree angles and 108-degree angles. Also 36-degree angles. So that's neat. That's cool. So pointing right back to the Venus star, creativity is 36. So creation is 33, creativity is 36. Mars is a very creative energy. When it's inspired, when it's on fire, you can't, I mean, it's just popping off. It's great. When you actually take the geometry of this star, for example, you take this red line and you divide into it the length of this green line. So if you take red and green, you're going to get the 1.618 ratio. If you take the green to the blue and do the same thing, you're going to get the same ratio. Blue into purple, the same ratio. It's all phi. If you go to the periodic table of elements and grab the 72nd element, you get moons and stars. You also get 13.3 is the density. So there's your 13 and there's your 33. Amazing. And these are just little things that you can do. And, you know, I am so excited to be able to show you these things because when we come with this astrological energy and then we look at how it's actually encoded and embedded into the structure of everything, it's really quite stunning. Slide 72 brings us to inspired action. So that's an energy of these two together in a trine. You're inspired. Every action you take comes from spirit. This is being guided. Like you can't stop yourself. And it's always the right action too, when these two are together. So if we take the two manner of analyses numerologically for the actual date of her retrograde, 16 and 61, that mirror that we looked at, if we take that and add those two together, we get 77. 61 plus 16 is 77. The 77th card in the tarot deck, you guys, again, this will come from cosmicsugar.org if you need these resources, is the Queen of Pentacles. Look at this lady, the Queen of Pentacles. She is only second in line to the King of Pentacles, except that she's got whatever she manifests, whatever she looks down on, she can create. And I just think it's so super amazing that like we get this card with this inspired action energy through the two ways of analyzing the date. As soon as I saw which card was 70, I just was like, yay, that's it. She's the manifester. She has all the power. She can create whatever she wants. She's also related to the Queen of Diamonds. Okay, this is in the cards of illumination. They're the same card. It's called a syncretism, meaning that you can change these cards around, but they have different numbers. So the Queen of Diamonds, if this is your birth card, is the number 38 in the deck. And that's actually my spirit card. So the Nine of Diamonds is my birth card, my life card, and the Queen of Diamonds is my spirit card. I think it's the Uranus-Saturn line, but I might be mistaken. If you take Mars and Cancer and Venus and Pisces and you add all that together, you get 86. Well, so what? Did I come to a dead end? No, I did not. I connected the two threads that I was pulling with chemistry. This is what you call alchemology. You're taking the ology of, or I guess it could be alchemancy too, and you're taking the cards, the ology and the ancy, and you're putting it together with the elements, and you get 38 strontium isotope 86. So the 38th element, atomic mass of 86, tying these all together, this inspired action. And look at this. This is a dynamo exploding. It has to do with atomic reactions. So we could be real dynamos this month in terms of what we produce, what we create, what we want to put out there in the world. Oh my goodness, Venus conjunct Saturn. Who's got this in their birth chart? I do. I have Venus conjunct Saturn in Gemini. So now they're in Pisces. Let's see what that energy looks like. So again, I'm just adding on to what we already know. We've got, the Venus trine Mars, the Venus conjunct Neptune, and now we have Venus conjunct Saturn. We're adding that line into there. And this is most of the month. This is going to start waning off here around the 8th of May. This is if you're going to have anything conjunct Saturn, it's Venus. Venus is such a great energy to have with Saturn. 79th slide, gold, the atomic mass of bromine. If you take 80 and you put it in the golden ratio string of digits, you're going to get a permutation of pi, 314 or 3143. That's legal in numerology. You can do it. So I thought that was interesting. Then I said, okay, creative discipline is the key words around Venus conjunct Saturn. This means, yeah, you got a great idea, but you also have the integrity, the timing, the tenacity to go at it 6 different ways. If 3 ways don't work, you go at it the 3 ways that do work. And you're able to change your approach based on the resistance you're feeling. This is very much a sensory approach to getting something done. So let's say, for example, I have a huge project. Maybe I want to throw an event, for example. Well, there's a lot of things that go into the event. You know when it is, you want to do it. How do you get there? Well, you have to break down all the different aspects of it and see what you can do first. Because, of course, you're excited. You want to get it done. So whatever on this particular day you can get done first, that's what you do. That's what you put on your list. Tomorrow, you might be able to get a few more things done. And that's creative discipline. And interestingly enough, it's freaking 77, which is 16 and 61 added together. It's also the 77th element, which is iridium. Okay. Iridium is the dragonfly card in the medicine deck. Go read that. Go read what that means. That's amazing. I did that a couple videos ago. But this card, this is about like realizing your responsibility for what's going on. It talked about the hubris of the dragon, how the dragon was fooled. We've got Neptune and Pisces, we've got illusion. It was how the mighty dragon was fooled into fighting things that weren't there and became the dragonfly, became the smaller, littler thing, right? So here you have this dragon that became dragonfly, and dragon is 33. And then, of course, if you take all the constants, you take that 138, and then you take the product of pi and phi, you get the sidereal cycle of the moon, which is 27 days and 4 hours. which is Dragonfly 27. So again, we've got this underlying code. We've got the idea of hubris, of not chasing after illusions, of becoming the beautiful dragonfly, creative discipline, and then, of course, all these constants showing up when we really dive deep into the code. Creative integrity is another word that came up for me, and it's 61, which is the 412 plus 20 plus 25. And I don't, please ignore this, because when I first did my slides, this was on slide 79, but I added more slides and it wasn't on slide 79 anymore. But there you go. There you see it. The 61, creative integrity, and 412 is 61. Now we have Venus conjunct Rahu, or the north node of the moon. This is your destiny. This is your spiritual striving. This is what you must accomplish here on Earth. You really wake up every day wanting to do this. And they're both in Pisces, pursuing the spiritual energy, pursuing the mysticism. So let's add that on there. We've already gotten Mars trine Venus, Venus conjunct Neptune, Venus and Saturn. Now we've got Venus and the North Node. Again, most of the month. This ends on May 3rd. This green line. So when you say Venus conjunct Rahu, you get the number 71. And remember, this is about work. So when you think about your destiny, what you want to do, you always are bringing along things from before. So what have you done before? You're kind of observing the work that you've already done. These are all pentacles too, which is the Venus star. So we have this serpent creature here that wants to do the work and wants to use Venus energy to help him do that. And so how do we pursue that? Well, 7 of diamonds is card 33 in the card of illumination. 7 of diamonds and 7 of pentacles are the same thing. We want something to happen here. This is a transit of wanting to make something happen so badly. Okay. So if you're feeling that, if you're feeling like all blissful and dreamy and all of this, but there's a part of you that's like, come on, where's the results already? It's because of this. It's because of Rahu. Now, Venus will also oppose Ketu, or the south node of the moon, because Rahu and Ketu are always in opposition. And interestingly enough, it works out to 71 as well. So these two are in opposition to one another, same message and same energy. This is a feeling of destiny as well. So inspired destiny, there you go. There's the word. Inspired destiny is comes to 88. Now, 88 is the sun. So we have some expressive energy here. The sun is also 16, which is the date we're dealing with. If we take it out of, do it by individual digits. And then this one, Logan pointed out several times, the 88th element is radium, whose atomic mass is 226. You add those together, you get pi. You get 314. So all of this tying back to 33 and to pi and to the sun and to the date and to that level of needing to move forward to see results. Okay. Venus sextiles Uranus. Look at that. It's also 71. And so I've added Uranus in, and here he is right here with this blue line. So we're getting through them. I think this is the last one I want to cover. I'm not going to do Venus with Pluto, I don't think. Did I do Venus sextile Pluto? I might have waited on that one. We'll see. Okay, let's see what I have. So again, 71, 7 of diamonds, 33. But if you look at the 71st element of the periodic table, you get lutetium, which is derived from the word for Paris. And I just wanted to check. I said, okay, let me just check and see what Lutetia says in, in the Phi cipher. And it happens to be 17, which is a mirror of 71. Unique creations is Venus sextiling Uranus. So Uranus is that just wild card of the deck. You never know really what you're going to get because it always comes from a place that you've never been through before. Some people like this and some people don't. Some people find it very uncomfortable to move through energies of the unexpected, through things that they've never seen before. With Venus there, this is where unexpected relationships, things that you find pleasurable that you never thought you would before, will also come through here, especially with a sextile. This is an opportunity to experiment, to do something unique with your creations and all the other permutations of those keywords. If you get what I mean, I'm trying to keep this at least PG-13 rated. So experiment, especially, think outside of the box. Let's take out the 0 and we have 13. 65 is the Ace of Pentacles, which is like, yes, this is it. This is a gift. So when something unique comes your way that maybe you normally would have scoffed at or said, no, that's too weird for me, maybe look at it as a gift. The Ace of Diamonds, which is the syncretic card to Ace of Pentacles, is also 27, which is the dragonfly, which is the dragon. Okay, so amazing, all these little connections. This is the last one I think I wanted to talk about with you guys is Mercury conjunct Venus. So this has been for several months. This is also lasting a good portion of the, before the eclipses. So most of March, this will end on the 19th. This is the earliest ending energy that we've got. So everything is status quo that we've been talking about, including Mercury and Venus until the 19th. So that's 81. 81 is the 431st digit of the string of pi, which is a permutation of pi, right? So 314. That's interesting. The numeric string of 81 in phi is the 33rd digit. Inspired intelligence is what this energy is together. Venus and Mercury go at things very differently. Think of right side of the brain, left side of the brain. Where Venus is the right side, the creative side, the spatial thinking, the abstract thinking. And Mercury is like the analysis, the lists, the words, the contacts, the money. And so when you put these two together like this, you get basically a genius, an intellectual genius, a creative genius, an inspired intellect that also equals 77. And 77, of course, is our dragon. 77 is the 810th decimal digit of the golden ratio, but we can drop the 0 and we go back to 81. So the dates, of course, you add them together, the two different ways of analyzing them, and you get 77. So we're just kind of coming full circle and bringing everything together. I love it. I love seeing all these beautiful connections. Oh, look, here we go. Right and left brain. I forgot I did this for you. So again, this is your gold. The right and left brain. This is your gold. Venus is your gold. 79 is bromine, 35. So we have all these energies pointing to 137 and 138, the fine structure, that little wiggle between everything. And then, of course, my birth card associated with the date of retrograde and the 137. So this is the end of this part of the presentation today. I wanted to tell you about my sources so that if you guys wanted to go, and you can screenshot this, you can go to decoded.co to get the ciphers. You can go to cosmicsugar.org to get the cards and the graphics for, figuring out what number the cards have. Number Empire, I spelled out, Number Empire will give you whether it's a prime number. Cymbidium will give you the string of digits. The Royal Chemistry Society will give you the full periodic table with pictures and numbers. And then ChemSpeller will spell words for you with the Royal Chemistry Society periodic table. And of course, I use Capricorn Prometheus. And then my ultimate source is Source. It's the higher self. It's my angels. It's my teachers. It's God. It's the center of the galaxy. That is where all of this knowledge rests and lays. And I simply offer myself as a channel to you for this information. So, oops, I almost spilled the beans. So my special secret announcement. I'm going to show you this picture, and then I'm going to show you what I went through to make this happen. Okay. On April 26th of this month, this book will be available for purchase. This is probably about 5 years of research and work and, decades long of sort of studying all those different silos, throughout the intellectual sphere. And I've really brought together something incredibly special for you guys. There is no resource brought together like this for Ophiuchus. This is an astrology research book, but more than that, it spends some time going through fourth dimensional reality, the history of astrology, the reason why tropical astrology is a little bit broken, and why you really want to dive into understanding Ophiuchus. That's the first part of the book. The middle part of the book, I spend really diving into the last incarnation, the healer's journey. We start in Scorpio. We analyze what the soul goes through and what planets in those constellations mean depending on which part of that journey you're on. So, like if you have, a bunch of stuff in Leo, then that's, the fresh childhood phase, and there's those energies, what they mean for you in Leo. So there's a list of what the planets mean in reference to the stage of the journey that you're in as the last incarnation. And that's the middle part of the book. The last part of the book is full on Ophiuchus. So Ophiuchus, sun in Ophiuchus, moon in Ophiuchus, nodes in Ophiuchus, Jupiter in Ophiuchus, probably 1,000 to 1,500 words on each one. So you can really take that, the sun in Ophiuchus and spend, 20 minutes reading that, and then spend a day or two thinking about it. Because if your sun is in Ophiuchus, you're going to want to read that and process that. And so that's my book. It's about 350 pages. It's 5.25 by 8 trim size or print size. I've spent a lot of time on this graphic is mine. I created this. ChatGPT, of course, helped me with the graphic. ChatGPT did help me with punctuation and formatting and all of those things that take an enormous amount of time. Literally, I was able to do in an instant because of ChatGPT, so it made the process much quicker. But the content, the thoughts, the reflections in there, they're all mine. And I'm excited and I'm happy to present this to you. So on the 26th of April, hopefully, if I can make sure everything falls into place, this will be available for hardcover purchase. It's going to be a paperback book, but you can purchase the print and the PDF version of it. I am about a third of the way completing the audiobook. I'm doing it myself. So that should be done by then. If not, it'll just be a few days later, but there will be a narrated audiobook of this also by me. And I'll have some special offers on my website for you guys. If you want to get a combination, so if you want the print and the ebook and the audiobook, you can get all of that in once. Those of you in Stellar Foundations or considering Stellar Foundations, this is part of your course. This is actually the textbook that goes with what we do in Stellar Foundations. So don't buy it if you're considering Stellar Foundations, because you're going to get, at least the PDF version of this for you to use and to reference for you during your coursework. Okay, so that is a value in and of itself, just to join Stellar Foundations. You get the free book. But I know a lot of you have been waiting for this. Those of you that know me intimately and personally, you've been urging me and coaxing me to finally step out there and do it. It's all over my chart to be able to do this. This is just the first book. The process was so amazing that I've got about 3 more under my hat that I'm going to be starting once I get this one out there and circulating. This is self-published, so I don't have a publisher yet. I'm open to a publisher if they want to take me on, but I just wanted to get this message out there. It's time. It's time for the seminal book to be out there to explain everything about Ophiuchus, about why we have Ophiuchus, about why it works, about why astrology works. So yes, there will be an EPUB version, a PDF version, an audio version, and a print version of this book. And it is a guidebook. It's a reference book. It's a resource book. I actually dream about this book being bought by the initial few hundred or so that buy it, and then being left somewhere. Like maybe you leave it on the bus, or maybe you leave it on a plane or in a plane terminal, and the next person picks it up. And then they learn something really profound that they weren't expecting to learn. And so that's kind of a little dream I have about this book too, that it just kind of ends up, elsewhere by chance, by happenstance. And yes, Athen Commenti of Mastering the Zodiac kindly wrote the foreword of this book, giving me his OG blessing to disperse this information. I don't go into the rulerships of Venus and Mercury at all. This is just basic book, and I teach the basics, but it's a great start. And I'm just so excited and so thrilled to bring you this book. And I'm going to be asking people to let me come onto their channels so I can talk about this and the journey that we've been going through as a community and a collective to maybe finally get out there and be recognized. So that's it. That's my presentation. That's the super secret special announcement that I wanted to share with you guys. All right, stop sharing. And we're back. How was that, guys? Did you enjoy that presentation? Christina has goosebumps. Lady Spellbreaker says, divine timing for the year of the wood snake, too. Yep. So yeah, definitely, if you're on Facebook, join the fellowship because I'll be announcing it there. Or if you go to my website, you can sign up to get emails and stuff. Yes, it is cool that Athen wrote that forward. It was so nice of him. He's amazing. African Wolf says, going to take my money now. I don't have it set up yet. There's a huge process that goes with publishing a book. Like I didn't even know about it. So it's been a wonderful learning process for me. But this is totally legit. I'm using Ingram Spark and ISBN numbers, all of that. So once I get through their gauntlet, I think I'll be able to share links with you guys, and you guys can go ahead and get the book if you want. Cool. Yeah. So Shane QCK says wonderful things. Notions of Motion says congrats. That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. It's really funny how it kind of came about. I like writing, but it's one of those things where I have to have, like 3 hours, 4 hours of uninterrupted, literal like focus to do it. And, I always have a running list of things that I want to do. And I'll always have like the next presentation is always the top of the list. My students and readings are next. Then after that, I create an offer. And then at the bottom is all the book stuff. It's always at the bottom. And I got to a point probably about 3 months ago where I was like, golly, I don't know why nobody's getting readings right now. I'm usually never not busy. Like I never go like 3 weeks without a reading, but that was just so weird. And I sat there and I said, okay, so I don't have readings. All my presentations are done. Stellar Foundations is moving along good. And so I got to the bottom of my list and it was like, write the chapters, start writing the chapters, do it. And so I did. And I spent like a week or 2 weeks just pulling things together, pulling resources from my files I just haven't opened in years almost. Just little tidbits that I find. I have a journal app here that I keep, the words that I want. And so I just spent those weeks just pulling it all together. And before I knew it, I had a 55,000 word book. I had to go back and find all the resources. So there's a full bibliography in that book. There's also a glossary in that book, and notes and everything. So beautiful graphics. So I'm excited. All right, you guys. Well, how about this? How about I see you all on Tuesday night or Wednesday night? I'll keep you notified, and we get together for just kind of a Q&A. I'll have a couple of short teachings on some astrology techniques, but for the most part, I want you to drive what you want me to talk about and answer for you. Okay, and I will set aside 1.5 to 2 hours of my life for you, either Tuesday or Wednesday night, where we can get together. And if you have questions, if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, we'll just work it out and we'll have a chit chat. Okay. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to leave you with more of that Venus energy that we started off at the beginning, because the information that I tell you in my slides is also in this outro and this intro. All right. So just take a minute to read all these little things about Venus, because they're just little nuggets that you can know about Venus. And I look forward to spending time with you guys next week and the new Stellar Foundations course. Love you guys so much. Take care. Bye.